yesterday and today, past and present. Time seems to have stopped moving in this corner of Israel, Galilee. Nothing seems to have changed here since biblical times. Or has something changed? 2,000 years ago, a traveler wrote, "The soil of the land is fat and rich in pasturage, with fruit trees abounding. There is no part which does not bloom." What became of its riches, or its soil heavy with crops? Across this land in ancient times, pillaging armies met in combat. The land was neglected. It was a battlefield. The ruins of Yodfat speak of a time 1900 years ago when the Jews battled against Roman legions in a desperate effort to defend their national and religious life. At the command of the officer in charge, Yodfat's defenders killed themselves rather than surrender. All but the officer himself, Josephus Flavius, historian of the Jewish war against the Romans. Today, a new Yodfat is arising. The walls and the tower are not part of an ancient fortress, but the perimeter of a square court, the heart of the new town to be. Today, the great traditions of Galilee are remembered, and the song goes out, El Yivne HaGalil, God will rebuild Galilee. A challenge and a promise, for Galilee and all it stands for is part of the eternal Jewish destiny. Perched high on the Galilean mountains lies the ancient city of Safed. Since she was founded in the 2nd century, every kind of evil was visited on her, wars and pillages, earthquakes and plagues. Yet from Safed, teachers and scholars sent forth the message of the Torah to Jewry all over the world. Only after the rise of the state, Safed awoke from its centuries-old slumber. Visitors from almost every corner of the earth came to rediscover the city's ancient history and heritage. But Safed's great need for full development and growth is a surrounding area of supporting villages manned by a farming population. The city is still isolated, encircled by wasteland and desolation. The development program of this area, extending over 25,000 acres, is focused on Biria, whose forests stretch over many miles. Here, 2 million trees were planted in the past 10 years, guarded against fire from an observation tower. Yesterday and today, past and present. This is Pekin, a little village in glorious Galilee. Its setting and history are like a fairy tale. Most of Pekin's inhabitants are Druzes. There is but one Jewish family, the Zenatis. They boast of being the only Jewish family who have never been in the diaspora. Thus, Pekin claims to be the only place where Jews have lived continuously since the time of the Temple. Narrow lanes paved with rough stones lead to the village well, whose waters flow from the crystal clear mountain brooks. There is a legend connected with these waters. When Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, one of the great Jewish sages, fled from the persecution of the Romans, the Lord, so the legend goes, brought forth a spring to quench his thirst, and made a carob tree grow to still his hunger. The old village of Pekin still maintains the quiet pace of times gone by. But a new Pekin has arisen on the slopes, settled by new immigrants. immigrants have destoned and terraced the land on which they now grow olives and vines, carobs and tobacco. Newcomers from many lands have fought the stubborn, stony land of the Galil, freeing it as they themselves are freed by it. Newcomers from many lands have unearthed the good soil, made creative use of rocks and stones for terracing, and planted fruitful orchards, vineyards, and fertile fields. Side by side with the Galilee of peaceful development, side by side with the Galilee of history and legend, there is a Galilee of today's harsh realities, the realities of defense and security. Roads are the key to security. They open up border areas which have been inaccessible not only to settlement and cultivation, but also to frontier patrols. Wedged in between Syria and the Lebanon, the Galilee is Israel's northern bastion. This road leads to what is called the Roof of Israel. It crosses the Tiger Canyon and brings what was practically no man's land under Israel's control. Right up on the top, a collective settlement has been built, Adamit, close to the borders of Lebanon. Galilee, the frontier land, and Galilee, the home for new immigrants. This is Akko. The fate of the East hangs upon this small town, said Napoleon when he vainly tried to conquer it in 1799. Akko, one of the most ancient cities in Israel, has seen many changing tides of history. In its vicinity dwelt the tribe of Asher. Greeks and Romans settled here. Within its walls, Titus celebrated his victory over the Jews. Today, new immigrants have revitalized the city and surrounded it with agricultural settlements which provide the food the city needs. New immigrants, new industries, new skills. That is today's Akko, pulsing with new life and modern technology. As the newcomers conquer new skills, the time-honored trade, plied here for centuries, is not forgotten.
שעון גלים בים וצל הרים סביב סביב שעון גלים בים וצל הרים סביב סביב קוטנים בבן יח מולדת מולדתי חורשת כהנים נעמה וכל ההליל בחסות עליל חורשת כהנים נעמה וכל ההליל בחסות עליל.
There is a new spirit in Galilee, the spirit of work and toil, of building and pioneering. The spirit which built Sasa, a kibbutz close to the Lebanese border. The young people who settled here had come a long way from the USA. There is an echo of the American West in Sasa. Who would have dreamed of raising cattle high in the mountains of Galilee? the young Americans who first came to Sasa, life was not always easy. It took years before prefabricated huts replaced the tents, and again years before permanent stone houses could ward off the winter cold. Yet today, children can grow here in comfort and security. Security is the key word for the latest development project, which is centered around ancient Chorazim, just above the Sea of Galilee. Here, 5,000 acres will be freed for farming and for settlements. Here, the River Jordan forms the boundary between Israel and Syria, for a long time one of the trouble spots on the Syrian frontier, open to marauders and infiltrators. The transformation of the land of Chorazim into fruitful soil will be another link in strengthening Israel's border areas. Over Israel. In Galilee itself, 100,000 acres will be reclaimed. God will rebuild Galilee. A song, a promise, and a challenge.